Capital Punishment 2011 pay-per-view review. The pay-per-view just went off there. I gotta say, this wasn't a bad pay-per-view from WWE, but it wasn't really a great pay-per-view. I would say it was a above-average show. You saw some good stuff on here. The best match of the night was easily Randy Orton versus Christian for the World Heavyweight Championship. CM Punk versus Rey Mysterio was very good as well. And the opening match with Dolph Ziggler versus Kofi Kingston was good. Some of the undercard was a little weak. And as far as the main event with R-Truth versus John Cena, I thought it was a pretty decent main event, but I was expecting a little more from it. I wasn't expecting a spectacular wrestling match or anything, but I was expecting just a little more from R-Truth versus John Cena. But it was still good for what it was. But just like I said, I was just expecting a little more from it. So let me get into my review of the show. The first matchup was Kofi Kingston versus Dolph Ziggler for the U.S. title. Good way to start the pay-per-view. Really good match to start the show. The crowd was really into it. Some good back-and-forth action. Really, the only downturn of this match was the ending, where I think the referee kind of botched up the ending a little bit, because you saw looked like Kofi Kingston was going for the win in this match. Dolph Ziggler called him, distracted the ref. Vicky Guerrero was outside the ring, poked Kofi Kingston in the eyes. And then Dolph Ziggler put him into the sleeper hold, got him out, and Dolph Ziggler made Kofi Kingston pass out. And just the way the referee did it kind of made it look bad, because he didn't really raise his hand 3 times, and it looked like they were kind of lost. They looked like they didn't know that was actually supposed to be the ending ending of the match. At least that's the way the ref did it, and that was really the only downside of the match. But still, very good opener and a good way to start the pay-per-view, even with that kind of miscommunication right there from the ref. I would say still a good opener, 3 1/4 stars. And the next matchup was actually a match I was really not expecting much from it. I'm not saying it was a great match, but it was a little more than I was expecting. This was The Miz versus Alex Riley. I was expecting maybe a watchable match at best, but I would say it was a pretty decent match from these two. Especially, glad that Alex Riley got the win in this match. Not a huge fan of him, but if WWE wants to, build him up and, keep continuing to push with him, this, he definitely needed the win here. Most of the time within feuds like, this, you would say, the heel kind of would need the first victory in their first big match with each other, but Alex Riley definitely needed this, because he needed the credibility. And he kind of won this match, in a fluke victory, so it doesn't really hurt Miz's credibility as well. And Miz is the cowardly heel, so it really doesn't hurt him at all. So obviously they're going to keep on building up Alex Riley. No expecting to build him up too much, but they'll probably continue this feud for a couple months with Alex Riley versus The Miz, maybe up until SummerSlam or the pay-per-view after that, Night of Champions. Decent match with 2. I would say about 2.5, 2 3/4 star match. Good for what it was, and like I said, it was a whole lot better than I was expecting. Then the next matchup was easily the worst match of the night. This was Alberto Del Rio versus Big Show. Going into this match, I wasn't expecting much. And really, just the way they booked this match and kept on, and they dragged it out, really is what hurt it. Alberto Del Rio, he was the first one to come out there when he was making his entrance to the ring. Big Show attacked him from behind. They kind of brawled outside the ring a little bit. Then Alberto Del Rio got in the ring. Then you saw Mark Henry come out, attack Big Show, throw Big Show through the table, hit the world's strongest slam to Big Show through the table, and then slammed his knee into the table, basically, selling the whole thing with Alberto Del Rio running over Big Show on SmackDown, and they kind of did that in the whole match, where Big Show was selling his knee and all that. And that, even though the match didn't officially start right there, since they did do the ending where Big Show wasn't able to compete and couldn't compete any further in the match, that should have probably just been the ending there. It would have worked out a whole lot better instead of dragging it out. Having Big Show come in there, kind of try to persevere and come in there and still try to win the match. And he got in the ring, looked like he was going to beat Alberto Del Rio, hit the choke slam to him, then he just couldn't get up anymore, and the referee just stopped the match. So Alberto Del Rio did win the match via basically forfeit, with Big Show not being able to continue in the match. And just worst match of the night, just wasn't that good, and just the booking of it and the way they dragged it out really hurt. What hurt it even more was the way they kept on dragging the match on, and I would say about 1 star at best, and that's probably being pretty generous with that match. Then the next matchup was Wade Barrett versus Ezekial Jax for the IC title. This is pretty much what you expect with Wade Barrett versus Ezekial Jax. It wasn't a terrible match, I would say. It was at least watchable. Didn't go too long. Ezekiel Jackson did pick up the win, and he became the IC champion after getting Wade Barrett in the torture rack. Won the match. became the IC champion and got his first title in WWE. Then after this, Jerry the King Lawler came in the ring and basically said, "What does it feel like? Finally winning your first title in WWE?" And Ezekiel Jack said this is the best moment in his life right now. And it wasn't a terrible match. I would say, like I said, watchable, about 1.5, 1 3/4 stars. Pretty much what you expect from an Ezekiel Jackson and Wade Barrett match. Then the next matchup was a very good match. This was Rey Mysterio versus CM Punk. The second best match of the night. Really enjoyed this match. Kind of started off a little slow, but really picked up midway into the match. Good back and forth action with these two. You saw some good counters, reversals. Just these two work very good with each other almost all the time. And the ending sequence of this match I really liked. CM Punk, he went for the go to sleep. Mysterio reversed it into an arm drag, got him into the ropes, looking like he was going to hit the 619 on CM Punk. CM Punk called him in to go to sleep. Then CM Punk hit the go to sleep to Rey Mysterio, so CM Punk picks the victory up in this match. And very good match with CM Punk and Rey Mysterio. Really enjoyed it. Second best match of the night, 3.5 stars. Really good match from the two. And these two always pretty much on any time they take on each other, they have a very good match. So you kind of expect that going in. So that was a very good match with them too. Then the next matchup was Randy Orton versus Christian for the World Heavyweight Championship. This is a very good match, easily the best match of the night. Really liked this match. These two have not had one bad match so far. The match where Christian won the title 5 days before and then lost it on SmackDown to Randy Orton. That was a very good match. The match at Over the Limit was good, and this match was great as well. Easily the best match tonight, and one of the things on this pay-per-view I would say is a must-see match. These two have very good chemistry. They had a great match right here, and with Christian, being the heel right now, which they kind of had to do because Orton's one of those guys. It's really hard. You can kind of have him be a heel, but he's kind of like the Austin type, where you can't have him be a complete heel. He's always going to come off a tweener if you try to push him as a heel. And Christian doing this and the whole thing with he keeps on saying he's getting screwed out of the title, I think it's pretty good. And Christian does work good as a heel and a face. He's one of those guys that can do pretty much both of them. And he's for a guy that not that long ago, probably less than a month or 2 months, he was getting cheered and everyone was glad to see him finally win the title. Now he's a heel. He definitely does a good job of being versatile and be able to play a heel and a face. And just a great match with these two. And Orton picks up the victory, hitting the RKO. And then they're going to do something. Obviously, end of the match game, hitting the RKO. Christian has his foot under the rope. So you see, or after the match, he argues with the ref saying, I had my foot under the rope and all this. And, saying he got screwed out of the match yet again. So they're either going to do two things. You're either going to see a Randy Orton versus Christian match next month yet again, which I wouldn't mind seeing since they had very good matches with each other, or they'll either have Orton take on someone else, and Christian will play it off that he's got screwed out of getting a title shot, and he'll be in the Money in the Bank and then win the Money in the Bank. So you're either going to see one of those two things happen at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, either Christian and Orton yet again, or Christian in the Money in the Bank and probably Christian winning the Money in the Bank, which I think is more likely they'll probably go the route of Christian being in the Money in the Bank, winning the Money in the Bank, then probably cashing in that night on the pay-per-view and becoming WWE Champion for the second time. And hopefully this time they actually give him a pretty good title reign when he finally gets his second reign in WWE. But great match with Orton and Christian. And the next matchup was a match they just threw on at the last minute, Jack Swagger versus Evan Bourne. Now, I'm a huge fan of both of them, but this was one of those matches you could tell they just, threw it on at the last minute. They went out there on the fly and were basically told just go out there, have a pretty good match, do something good, but more or less just cut some time on the pay-per-view. And with that, it wasn't a great match. It was, pretty much a Raw match on pay-per-view. And Evan Bourne wins this match via roll-up in this match, defeating Jack Swagger. And I would say about a 2 1/4 stars, maybe 2.5 stars. It wasn't a bad match, but you could tell they were just pretty much going through the motions in this match. Then the next matchup was the main event. This was R-Truth versus John Cena for the WWE Championship. Like I said earlier, wasn't a bad match between these two. I was just expecting a little more from it. R-Truth is an awesome heel. Obviously, John Cena gets those mixed reactions. So even though R-Truth is doing a good job as a heel, Cena still gets those mixed reactions. I would say he got it a little less than normal here than other times, especially, compared to Chicago or New York. He still got that mixed reaction, of the Cena, let's go Cena, and Cena sucks chance. But, R-Truth, he's definitely doing a good job as a heel here. Was a decent match. Just was expecting a little more from it. At the end of the match, you saw R-Truth pretty much messing with a Cena fan outside there, in the front row. Grabbed his hat, put it on him, grabbed his drink from him, started sipping on it, then handed it back to the kid. Then the kid threw it on R-Truth. Then Cena came from behind. Threw R-Truth into the ring, hit the attitude adjustment, so Cena retains the title, like obviously you would expect. About 2 1/4, 2 3/4 stars. It was a decent match between the two. I was just expecting a little more from it. I wasn't expecting a great wrestling match. I was expecting something a little better than what they actually did. But hopefully we continue seeing this R-Truth push, and with him, I wouldn't be surprised if he wins the Money in the Bank next month. Then I don't know if he'll cash in, towards SummerSlam, or he'll keep it for a little while. But it seems like they are behind Truth right now, so I would see, that'd be the most logical choice on Raw at this moment, to win the Money in the Bank at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view next month when they do that show. So like I said, it was a decent main event with R-Truth, and John Cena, just expecting a little more. But overall, the show, since you had Randy Orton versus Christian, a great match between each other. CM Punk and Mysterio was good, and the opening match was good, and had some weak stuff on the undercard, but still wasn't a bad show from WWE. I'll probably give it about a 7 out of 10 because there were some very good stuff on here, but like I said, there were some stuff that was weak on here. So yeah, that's it for my WWE Capital Punishment 2011 pay-per-view review. All right, peace.